What an extraordinary night here in Des Moines. Welcome to ABC News' special coverage of the Iowa caucuses, which basically ended in a dead heat, a flat dead heat. It's the closest race in Iowa caucus history. You can't imagine anything closer. Let's go right to the results there. Mitt Romney has just been declared by the Republican Party here the winner, 30,015 votes. Rcik Santorum, second place, 30,007 votes. 8 votes separating. Just an amazingly close race. And then the rest of the field here. Ron Paul, a strong third place showing here with his very passionate following. Newt Gingrich, once flying high, hammered by an avalanche of negative ads, down to 13%. Rick Perry, the governor of Texas, says he will go home to think about things after coming within just 10%, and Michelle Bachmann bringing up the rear here. Let's take a look at what happened demographically. You can see the fracture in the Republican Party by taking a look at those voters who identified themselves as very conservative, the base of the Republican Party. Rcik Santorum winning them whoppingly there. But for those voters who said the most important thing was to defeat Barack Obama, it's the exact opposite story. Mitt Romney clobbering Santorum. He is seen as the electable one because there's no question that big part of the Republican Party wants to defeat Barack Obama. ABC News' Jake Tapper is with us right now, our senior White House correspondent, also with Santorum. It's a heck of a night for Santorum. What does it say about Mitt Romney?
It says that he has a ceiling. We've known this for a long time according to polls. Now we have it according to votes. He has a ceiling. 25% of the Republican Party is sold on his message. Businessman, strong conservative, able to beat Barack Obama. 75% of the Republican Party says, I don't know, I'm not so sure. They've been shopping around for a long time. You've seen a lot of front runners come and go. Herman Cain, you might remember him, Michelle Bachmann, Rick Perry, and now we have Rcik Santorum, who peaked at exactly the right time. Yeah, politics, like life, it's timing. So he peaks at the right time. He is now the darling of Christian conservatives. Can he take that further with so little money, so little infrastructure? Big questions.
And yet he had a chance to introduce himself to the country tonight, making that speech late because the results were so close. But it was his thematic speech. Who is Rcik Santorum? What do you say?
Well, what's interesting about him is he sells himself as a blue-collar Republican who is, even though he is very, very conservative on a lot of social issues, able to win over Reagan Democrats. He says that's how he won his House races in Western Pennsylvania. It's how he won 2 statewide elections in Pennsylvania. He talks a lot about his grandfather, the coal miner, who worked in the coal mines. He's drawing a very stark contrast with Mitt Romney, who of course comes from a background of wealth. And he's also making an electability appeal, because that's the big question about Rcik Santorum. Okay, Christian conservatives like him. Does anyone else? Can he appeal beyond that base? He says yes, he did it in Pennsylvania. We'll see. And
let's just take a brief look at some of what Rcik Santorum had to say, introducing himself essentially to the national audience.
You, by standing up and not compromising, by standing up and being bold and leading with that burden and responsibility you have to be first. You have taken the first step of taking back this country.
Iowa made him.
And right in what he's saying there, you Iowans, you did not compromise. That's a shot at Mitt Romney. Romney is compromise. Rcik Santorum is not compromise. He is what you believe in. And that's going to be his message going forward.
And that's the battle going forward. Jake Tapper, thanks very much for being here in the middle of the night.
Oh, it's a lot of fun. Good to be here. Thanks, Terry.
And for the other candidates, of course, this is a very big night as well, as Jake was pointing out. Mitt Romney, a lot of questions around him, but at the end of the day, a win is a win. And David Muir has been covering his campaign.
Terry, good evening. Just a short time ago, Governor Mitt Romney came out onto the stage with his wife and 4 of his sons, and he thanked the supporters in this crowd. Clearly, they would have liked to have had a decisive victory here in Iowa this time around, but they consider this a victory nonetheless. Here's what he said about Rcik Santorum and about the numbers tonight just a short time ago.
Congratulations to Rcik Santorum. This has been a great victory for him and for his effort. He's worked very hard in Iowa. We also feel it's been a great victory for us here. For Ron Paul as well. Ron Paul's had a great night. this has been terrific. I think it's great that here in the heartland of America that a campaign begins. All three of us will be campaigning very hard to make sure that we restore the heart and soul of the entire nation. And thank you, Iowa, for the great send-off you're giving to us and to the others in this campaign. Look, this is a campaign night where America wins. We're going to change the White House and get America back on track.
Romney making it very clear he's looking forward now, moving on to New Hampshire next, his own backyard. Obviously, former governor of Massachusetts. He's got a summer home in New Hampshire. There are going to be questions tomorrow, though, about Mitt Romney getting the number that he did here in Iowa. Not all that different from what you saw here 4 years ago as far as the electorate that he was able to capture here. And after all this talk of the majority of Republicans polled saying he's the most electable, he'll be asked why not. Able to close the deal in a more significant way here in Iowa. Why the tie, and what to do now about a surging Rcik Santorum. But this campaign tells us they are very happy. They said they feel great about these numbers, and they move forward. Tonight, even beyond New Hampshire, they've already bought their first TV ad in Florida, so they are looking ahead, Terry.
It's a machine, there's no question about it, David, but it is a machine that, we can tell you, earned 6 votes less. Romney got 6 votes less than he did in Iowa in 2008. For Ron Paul, he's had a surge, a sort of steady surge, and this is a big night for him, and John Carl is with the Paul campaign. John.
Well, Terry, Ron Paul and his campaign here, they were looking for a victory in Iowa, but they'll definitely take what they got, a third-place finish, and a strong third-place finish. As he told his supporters a short while ago, there are 3 tickets out of Iowa. He's certainly got one of those. He's also got a campaign that is prepared to go nationally. He's still got a lot of money, and boy, does he have the supporters, those Ron Paul brigades. As he came to the stage a little while ago, he spoke to them and talked about them as the one thing that he has that no other candidate in this race has.
There's nobody else that have people like you working hard and enthusiastic and believe in something.
Those Ron Paul brigades are here to shake up the Republican Party, and the big secret he had here was bringing independent voters into the Iowa caucuses. He won those independents overwhelmingly, many of them probably never having voted for a Republican before. And let me tell you, Terry, when Paul continues on, he is going to continue to try to shake up the party, and I predict to you that he'll take this all the way to the convention, winning as many delegates as he can, and trying to have a real impact when the Republicans finally get to formally crowning their nominee in Tampa this summer.